You're obviously a core student of our Scale Up program, the course that allows these new GTM agency owners and veteran GTM agency owners to scale up. You joined about 2 months ago. You've been going through the materials. You've been attending every single week. You have a pretty good sense of who I am, what I'm about. You went through the whole sales process, and I would love for you to share for somebody who's listening to this in the future, who's considering going through the course. Where were you before you started the course? And maybe we start there. What's your business and what were you doing before you got in?
Yeah. So thanks, Ben. Before I got in, I founded two companies ran companies for 10 years, done the venture route, done the bootstrap route, and they were all SaaS companies. And for the first time, I got excited about the possibilities on the agency side and made that switch right before coming to you. And I gotta say, I went everywhere, like everywhere on the internet to find people, programs, content that would accelerate my progress. And as an experienced founder, I, you don't want just like marketing BS, right? You want somebody who's been in the trenches, who's done the work, who gives it to you raw and unfiltered, and shows you what to expect, the crappy things and the good things, and how to navigate around that. And I looked at different boot camps. I looked at courses far more expensive than yours, DIY courses far cheaper than yours. And I found that the far more expensive ones, I couldn't wrap my head around the value. Those that were much cheaper DIY type, I felt I needed more than just a bunch of videos I could access on YouTube. And really needed a thought partner and a community that I could plug into and learn from and grow my business accordingly. And that's what I found with your group and your community. Like it's been a great journey.
Great. I appreciate all of that. And it seems like I remember when you first came on, you asked me, why am I starting this, right? I have a GTM agency. I also have a product, ReviOps, as anybody who's been through all my stuff knows. So why teach other GTM agency owners how to become a GTM agency owner? It seems counterintuitive. And so I know you asked me that in the beginning, and based upon your experience, maybe you could tell the people listening what your perception of that is at this point.
Yeah. So I found that your efforts to build ReviOps as a SaaS and to have this as maybe a lead generation mechanism or like just a community of like possible design partners to learn from was the most transparent of all the other boot camps that I came across. And that resonated with me and it made me feel like the content that you were sharing was genuine and it has been like you go into the nuts and bolts of how the business model is structured, like pricing, your outbound calculator. Like I spent a long time on that thing, like just playing with the numbers to see could I make this work for my business? And you really held nothing back. Yeah. So I think that exceeded my expectations big time. And it boiled down entirely to your why. Like, why are you doing this? You were very transparent from day one about what it was. And it made sense to me. You're not selling stuff that, agencies did 2 years ago that worked and just no longer work anymore. And that's why they're peddling that. You're giving the real sauce. And that's what I've always appreciated.
Yeah, for anybody who's listening and wondering why would a GTM agency owner teach a competitor to do a GTM agency business? And the answer is one, if you go through my program and you're listening to this, I teach people to niche down. So my whole philosophy is go find a niche. And so my niche is video production. I do some payment processing too. So I could go very deep in that world and never really cross paths with somebody who's dealing with accountants or med spas or some other thing that they're focused on. So one is I just don't view GTM agencies as fundamentally competitive unless you're just completely broad. And even then the market is just so massive that it's not even a problem. And two is, yeah, my incentive is building ReviOps. It's a software that's catered towards GTM agencies. It's how I run my GTM agency. So my whole thinking is help guys like you who obviously are smart and capable and you're going to scale up your business. And my hope is that by the time you get to the point where you're all grown up, so to speak, and you have a big business, we are still your vendor and software partner on the ReviApp side. So, anyways, that's how always been a part of my incentive, which is why I'm doing all this. So you went through the program, you obviously learned a bunch. What are the top three takeaways that you've learned from the program that were counterintuitive or critical to where you are now?
The number one thing was I remember our first conversation. And I came to you. I had 7 clients at that time, doing like close to 10 to 12K in MRR. And in my mind, I was thinking, how do I get to 20? That was my goal. And I was pretty aggressive about that with you. And over time, like working with you and just chatting with you, it made me question if that was the right goal. Because at that point, I was running a cold outbound service. I was doing a decent job operationally, but the scope of different offers and different markets that I was going into was everything from car dealerships to like CFOs to water, like hotels, SaaS companies. It was so diverse. And I was struggling to build lists, trying to use all the latest hacks to cater for such a broad audience. And your refrain just kept like nagging at the back of my mind. Does it make sense that I would ever solve this problem for everybody? And has anybody solved it for everybody? Probably not. And and so I started like digging really deep, and I think you do that. You exude that anyway. I started digging really deep about what core value I was actually bringing. And since then, I've really niched down, both in terms of my offer and in terms of who I'm serving. And I had to let a number of clients go almost. I fired them because they just weren't a great fit. It was not a good relationship. And ironically, doubling down on those that I was serving well and re reworking the relationship to something that I could actually genuinely deliver value on has made me like my I have half the number of clients today, but I'm making more money and I can see a path to growth rather than like having that worry that at the 3 month mark I'm going to get canned or I'm going to have to exit the relationship because I just wasn't bringing value. So that has made a huge difference in how I'm thinking. I'm not going to say that I've solved it all, but I know now the value that I'm bringing, and I know specifically the profile of company and founder that I'm bringing it to. And so that, yeah, huge credit to you for helping to shape that thinking.
Yeah, there's no doubt that some of the decisions, as we say in the first phase of the business build out, which we call the startup phase, clients 1 to 5, is these very specific, counterintuitive, strategic decisions that are made that the initial ambition of a early stage GTM agency founder is to just go skyrocket to the moon, sell as much as possible. And for anybody who's tried, and as we teach in the course, and as you've realized yourself, is that there's better ways to structure the business. There's better ways to make offers. There's better ways to become profitable and actually do a lot less work, be much happier doing it, and actually feeling like it's a sustainable thing you could actually grow and be proud of. So I think that's a core kind of idea from the entire program. Any other thoughts on what you would encourage or say to anybody who's considering it or has doubts or is trying to figure this out between all the different options on the market in terms of these GTM agency courses?
Yeah. So if you're even wondering whether you want to invest in a course, I would say it's a total no-brainer. Like whatever it is that Ben's charging you, he's delivering 5x that value. And if you think about the amount of time that your learning cycle is going to take without a course like this, it would have taken me maybe a year, maybe 18 months of trying and failing in what I had originally planned to do before coming to this realization today. Like 3 months in, I think I have learned more than I would have over 18 months. And as a founder, time is so critical because it's not so much the money, it's going to be your founder energy, it's going to be your ability to crack a market. And the longer it takes for you, the harder it's going to become. So just make that investment. And if you're choosing between different options, if you're the sort that just loves watching YouTube, I don't think you're a good fit for the course anyway. There are some premium courses out there. You just ask yourself, like, why are they selling that course? If that's their business, if that's their core business, if they've made $3 million in 2 years, whatever it is, like, how, why are they giving you that secret sauce for whatever that price may be? Even if they were charging you 10K a month or 10K for the whole course or 15K, that's cheap to get to 2 million or 3 million in 2 years. Why would they give that away and create more competition for themselves? I would just encourage you to think through that before making that commitment. With Ben, Ben's always been shooting straight, and I've never felt that there was anything that was not transparent about the relationship and the community. And I got to say, like, it's great to be part of that community of other builders, other GTM folks who are really moving the needle in their respective niches and trying to crack it. So yeah, I like that. If you're even having any doubts, I think through all of these different considerations and make a wise decision for yourself.
Yeah, and it's worth noting that for anybody listening is that I'm actually giving away about $36,000 of value, and I'm stacking essentially almost all my courses into this one bundled offer, which comes out to the courses alone are more than $15,000 in value. So if I wanted to, I certainly could charge those higher prices. Frankly, I would love to be able to give this away for free, but the reality is it takes my time and energy, as we've had many calls at this point, and I show up, so I do have to charge for the courses. But I found that the people that pay actually are the highest caliber, and they're the ones that actually get shit done.
If you gave it away for free, I would be suspicious. Like, why is this guy like, what's he not telling me?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of it's my literally my life's work in terms of all of the thinking that has gone into all the distilled problems I've and edge cases and nuances and stories that I've gone down that you don't want to go down. I put that into the course to say, look, the reason I'm saying in this lesson this thing is because I went down 3 months in the wrong direction. So it took me a lot of time to not only create the course but also to just experience what I had to experience to have the lessons to put it there. Everything was came from just pure experience. Anyways, I appreciate you as a student and thanks so much.
All right, awesome.